Hello, my name is Chris and today we're going to talk about relapsing, whether that's trying to get sober and you pick up a drink, or you're trying to quit smoking and you smoke a cigarette, or whatever the addiction and the relapse may be. What I'm going to talk about today should apply to all addictions or relapses. Last night I was at home, just chilling out, enjoying being smoke free and sober. There's no feeling like it, and I got a message from a friend and she's like, "Oh no, Chris, help!" I said, "Okay, what's wrong? Come, I'm here, what's wrong?" She says, "I tried to quit drinking 3 weeks ago, and last night something went wrong and I bought a whole load of booze and I drank a lot, and now I feel terrible and I'm a bad person. I've failed. I'm never going to be able to do this. I might as well give up trying. Oh no, oh no, oh no." I'm like, okay. Shh, calm down. It's going to be okay. You have not failed. You are not a bad person. You should not give up. This is a learning experience, just like it was for me. You see, the reason my friend came to me in the first place is that she knows that I'm now 5.5 years sober and roughly 18 months without a cigarette. So I've shown that it can be done. She also knows that I didn't do it the first time of trying. I relapsed so many times. When I was trying to get sober, I had some monumental disasters en route to sobriety. When I was trying to quit smoking, I stumbled and picked up a cigarette so many times I lost count. But each one of those relapses, if you want to call them slips, whatever, each one of those relapses taught me something invaluable that I could eventually use to help me get sober and smoke free long term. Each one of those relapses was a valuable learning experience. So last night I was talking to my friend about the things that I learned and how relapses ultimately helped me to get sober long term. I'm not saying everyone should go out and relapse and that's the only way to do it. It isn't. I'm just saying that this was my journey. This was what I learned en route. So I shared those with my friends and I'm about to share them with you today. Do you want to come and do this with me? Hang on, jump on board. Let's go do it. The first lesson I learned is that beating myself up about a relapse is only going to lead to the next relapse. So I need to forgive myself for relapsing. You see, when I relapse, I feel bad enough. And it's okay to, I'm not saying don't feel bad. It's perfectly okay to feel however you're feeling. What I am saying is that feeling bad and then taking out a great big stick, beating yourself up on top of feeling bad, you beat yourself up and you start going, "I'm bad, I am worthless, I can't do this, I'll never be able to do this, I might as well give up now." Oh, the headache you get. That's only going to make matters worse. When I did a lot of looking, going into the root causes of my addictions, I noticed that one of the main reasons behind my self-destructive behaviour, drinking, smoking, etc., was a feeling of low self-worth, that I didn't deserve to be happy, healthy, whatever it may be. I didn't deserve to be sober and smoke free, so I might as well not even bother trying. I might as well just give up and drink and smoke myself to death. So my self-esteem plays an important factor in keeping me sober and smoke free. If I beat myself up, I feel bad, and then naturally I want to change the way I feel. And I only know, or I've only ever experienced, changing the way I feel by picking up a cigarette, by picking up alcohol, by picking up whatever the addiction may be. So I make myself feel bad, and then I change the way I feel with that, so that's another relapse, and then I feel worse about that relapse, so I beat myself up even more. I make myself feel even worse, so then I have to change the way I feel again, so then I relapse again, and it goes on and on and on in an endless cycle. So I have to forgive myself. I have to say, okay, look, all I did was make the wrong decision. I'm not a bad person, I'm not a weak person, I haven't failed, I've just I was presented with two options, relapse or don't relapse, and in that split second I made the wrong decision. There are billions of people on this planet. All of those people at one point or another will have made the wrong decision. I am no different, you are no different. Everybody makes the wrong decision from time to time. It's okay. What we can do from here is to use this experience to learn from. We can remember how bad we feel. As I'll talk about later, feeling bad after a relapse can be such a powerful tool for making sure it doesn't happen again. And we can use it and we can grow instead of using it to fuel our next relapse. Now we have the choice. We can make a good decision. Do we use this relapse to fuel the next relapse, or do we use this relapse to fuel recovery? Forgive myself, don't beat myself up. Use it to fuel the long-term recovery. The second thing that I learned was that relapsing, excuse me, really does not fix anything. You get to a heightened sense of stress. You think, I'm going to pick up a cigarette, it'll relieve the stress, I'll be fine. As we've talked about in loads of videos, I'll put one up there with a little thing that goes boop boop, or is it boop boop, I'm not sure, about how smoking a cigarette does not relieve stress, it causes more stress. Because the nicotine shoots up into your body, hits the nicotine receptors, and then immediately leaves. You're starved of that hit. Your body starts to crave it, you start to feel stressed. So it does not relieve the stress. I made another video, can we get the thing, about bereavement. Somebody dies, somebody passes away. Drinking isn't going to bring them back. And I'm certainly not going to use their death as an excuse. You know, I'm not going to crap all over their memory by using their death as an excuse to drink. If my relationship ends, drinking or smoking isn't going to fix it, isn't going to bring that person back, especially if they left because of my drinking or smoking. That's happened to me before. Whatever the case may be, it doesn't fix anything, it doesn't change anything. There is an argument with alcohol or drugs or whatever, you get momentary numbness from it. For a brief moment you put the thing on pause and you drink yourself into oblivion, but then guess what? When you wake up, when you sober up, the original problem is still there, along with the guilt, shame and remorse that you now feel for having relapsed. So now you feel bad, now you've probably caused more problems, you've still got the original problem, and again it's an endless cycle. So it does not fix anything. I've learned that when I'm faced with a challenge, when I'm faced with stress or bereavement or relationship ending or whatever it may be, the best thing that I can do for myself is to help me, is to work on ensuring I'm sober, work on ensuring I don't pick up a cigarette, that I don't pick up some other addiction, so that I'm in a better frame of mind, so that I am better physically to deal with the problem, instead of trying to run away from it, mask it, whatever it may be. Number 3, the third valuable lesson to take from a relapse is that every relapse gets progressively worse and worse and worse. When I was trying to quit smoking, I noticed that every time I would pick up a cigarette and start smoking again, I smoked more and more than I had last time round. I noticed I coughed more and more. I noticed that I felt worse and worse. I noticed that the effects of smoking were more intense. I noticed that every cigarette I had just made me feel worse. I've shared many times before about my last cigarette was the most horrible experience of my life. I tried to force this cigarette down inside me and I coughed my lungs up until I vomited. There, all over the kitchen floor. It was disgusting. I've since built up a very vivid, powerful memory about that experience that I'll get to in a moment. When I was trying to get sober, I noticed that every relapse, I didn't sort of go through a period of abstinence from drinking and then start again from the dot. I went through a period of abstinence and then picked up where I left off, and things got progressively worse much faster than they had done before. My circumstances around me, I lost more and more because of my drinking. More friends disappeared, more money disappeared, relationships with my family were strained to the point of, one more thing and they would have snapped completely. Everything got worse and worse and worse. And the thing is, especially with drinking, I put myself in such a physically and mentally bad state that I made the next bout of recovery even harder. When I smoked so much and I had that awful last cigarette, but because I relapsed so many times and it was getting worse and worse, the cravings were getting stronger, and my last attempt, the one now that I had to get sober smoke free for 18 months, oh my God, the withdrawals were worse than they had ever been for any other, quit attempt. So I learned that it just gets worse and worse, which is, for me, is the imperative today. I remember those things and I think, do you know what, if I'm ever tempted again, I remember how bad it got. And that brings me to the fourth lesson that I learned from my relapses in smoking and drinking, is that a relapse can be the most powerful tool we have at our disposal to help us stay smoke free, to help us stay sober, to help us stay clean, whatever it may be. As I said, my last cigarette was horrendous. My eyes were streaming, like I said, vomited all over the floor. It was disgusting. Coughing, my chest hurt, my throat was on fire. Over time, I built up such a vivid memory of that last cigarette that I can feel it, that just thinking about it, makes me shiver. Now, if the thought comes back, maybe I could start smoking again, I immediately go back to that memory and I think, well, I could start smoking again, but that's what's going to happen to me, and I do not want that, because that was awful. With my drinking, I'm reminded of how bad my life got. I had no friends, no money, no job. Like I say, relationships with my family were strained. I was living in this tiny little box room. There goes my phone at my parents' house. And I didn't even have a phone. I certainly didn't have all this. I have a very nice life today. So I compare the two. I think, well, yeah, I could drink. But if I drink, I just lose everything, like I lost everything the last time. And I go back to feeling miserable, and I go back to being desperate, and I go back to looking like crap, and I go back to feeling like crap. It's not worth it. Build up very, very powerful images in my head of what that used to be like, and it serves as such a powerful tool for me, so that if I am ever tempted to do it again, that pops up and goes, well, yeah, you can, but this is what's in store. Again, I am not saying that in order to stop smoking, or in order to get sober, or in order to get clean, or whatever it may be, you need to go and have a relapse. You know, I'm showing the lessons that I learned from my relapses, so that you don't have to go through the relapse to get those same lessons. I'm just saying, if you have relapsed, the fact that you've managed to get on YouTube and look up this video proves there's still a fighting chance for you. So put the big stick down. There's no need to beat yourself up. You've learned from this that it certainly didn't make whatever situation caused you to relapse, it certainly didn't make it better for you. It made you feel terrible. It's probably worse than the last one. Or at least the feelings of guilt, shame and remorse, if nothing else, are worse than the last one. But you can use those feelings of guilt, shame and remorse to now build up a very powerful defense against the next relapse. I hope this has made sense. I hope this has been helpful. If there's anything you'd like me to elaborate on, to share more about in future videos, about using relapses, or stopping some beating yourself up about them, please let me know in the comments below. As I say at the end of every video, my favourite part about making YouTube videos about quitting addictions is when someone comments and they say, Chris, I'm 3 weeks, I'm 2 days, whatever it may be. I think that's fantastic. Keep going. I'm with you every step of the way. So do let me know how you're getting on your own personal journey. If you have found this helpful, if you have found this useful, I would really appreciate it if you could just like at the bottom, subscribe for more videos on the same thing. And if you do feel like sharing this video, I absolutely won't be against that. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.